A Swift Kick in the Ass, episode 172. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. And with me today, I have the distinct honor of having Bryan Driscoll, who's the author of a book called The Power of Kindness. Now, Bryan comes to us from Pennsylvania, and I'm kind of interested now what got you on this path of kindness, because that really seems to be just the opposite of what people are experiencing today. And I'll just kind of set off an example. So my daughter's boyfriend was in the convenience store yesterday, and he was just getting a drink out of the cooler, and this guy was next to him and looks over at him and just says, "Nerd," and walks away. Like, before he could say anything, but and I think it's kind of funny, but to me that's just the opposite of kind. And it seems like people are just poking fun at each other and making fun of each other and putting each other down, and it's really counterproductive, I think. So I'm very interested to hear your take and what got you on this path.
Yeah, sure thing. So, yeah, thanks for having me on, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad you're here.
I started back in 1998. I used to be a troublemaker and get in all kinds of trouble, and I ran away. So I got pissed at my parents. I was 18 years old, so I wasn't a teenage kid. I was a higher teen, right?
Okay.
And I got pissed at my parents. I'm like, screw this. I'm out of here. So I went down to the Greyhound station in Pittsburgh, and I'm like, give me the next bus leaving. Next bus was going to Orlando. So I'm like, all right, hopped on it. Had maybe $250 in my pocket, some boxers and a duffel bag, stuff like that. And I went down to Orlando, right? So, you ever ride the Greyhound bus before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you know.
It's long. It's a long journey, and the type of people that usually go there are very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
From the law, that's how I'm traveling.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going down to I'm on there.
That's on our next episode. How to escape the law? Travel by Greyhound bus.
Right.
I'm sorry.
So I'm on the way down there, and it takes 24 hours to get there. So I remember I'm getting down there at 11 p.m. or something, and this is before cell phones and before Uber. And I was talking to a couple on the bus, and they're like, "Hey, where are you going?" I said, "I don't know. I'm going to figure that out." So they took me back to their place and helped me call around to find a motel. So remember, we're using one of those old yellow rotary phones.
Oh man, yeah.
Yellow pages. So I'm down there, and I get a motel room. It's $25 a night. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I still don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just like an idiot, just winging it. It's I'm just going somewhere with no money, no direction.
Been there and done that.
Yeah, right. But I'm sure a lot of people can relate. And I'm down there, and I figure, okay, I'm going to go get a job. I'm moving to Florida. I'm just down here now. So I go to Publix. It's a grocery store. And I'm like, hey, I want to get a job. They give me an application. And I realize you can't fill out an application if you don't have an address and a phone number. So I'm like, oh crap, what am I going to do here? So I grabbed the manager. I'm like, I'm trying to sell myself into the job. And he's like, dude, I can't. He's like, you wouldn't even get paid for 3 weeks anyways, even if we could do it, but we can't. So I found this place. It's called a job labor pool. You know what they are? The places you just you show up for the day.
Oh yeah.
So I found one of them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go work at the job labor pool. They pay you the same day. You're also meeting the same types of people on the Greyhound.
Right, the day laborer. Yeah.
Right. So I get a job there, and guy picks me, we go and I'm carrying scaffolding across the parking lot. They were building some big fancy tree, and I'm pretty sure it was the Animal Kingdom's tree.
Oh, cool.
On it. And so I'm doing that, and I still ran out of money. Like I'm making $25 a day. The hotel costs $25 a day. You still got to eat. So I had a great idea. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go walk to the Greyhound station. There's a bunch of people there. I'm just gonna crash there for the night and save some money. So I grab my stuff. I'm walking to the Greyhound station. Some lady pulls up beside me in one of those old black Geo trackers, like the little small looking Jeep things.
Oh, yeah.
And she just looks at me and she's like, hey, it doesn't look like you belong here. Where are you going? And I didn't think anything of it really at the time, but I explained it to her, and she took me back to her place with her family, put me up for a couple nights, got me on my feet, and then I ended up coming back to Pittsburgh. She spotted me $300. I'm supposed to pay her back. I lost her contact info. Like, I came back to Pittsburgh, 20 years old, 21, start going out boozing, drinking, and partying. Like, it wasn't really top priority.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'm like, you know what? I got to pay her back, and I don't know who she is. So that's where it really started.
Yeah.
Like some random lady just like, which looking back too, it's like, I don't know, there's an angel looking out for me or something. Like, who picks up some kid on the side of the road?
Yeah, and who, you take a chance doing that these days too, as well. I mean, I like to hear that kind of story because I've taken chances like that before, and it's always turned out just fine. I've never had an issue, but that thought crosses the back of your mind because you don't know who you're dealing with, and you have to hand it to her as well for taking that chance. Here's this young dude who's hanging out at a Greyhound bus station.
Right.
But her heart was obviously in the right place, and it set you on this path.
Yep. Yeah, so that's where it originally started. It's like 25, I don't know, that was 98, so I don't know, it's what that, 27 years ago or something.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think I was, around that time too, I had some difficult times where I was, off by myself, staying with a friend in a weekly, pay by week hotel.
Yeah.
And that, I will tell you, is one of the most depressing things I have ever gone through. I mean, basically crying yourself to sleep because you don't know what way to turn. I called my parents from a payphone because I was totally broke, didn't have a job, I was technically homeless as well. And I talked to my friend who lived in the area, and she's like, why are you staying in that hotel? She's like, come over here and we have a spare bedroom. Stay as long as you want, and took me in. And I got back on my feet, got another job. And I mean, I had my then girlfriend, who turned into my wife because she stuck with me through that most difficult time in my life. And I knew if she stuck with me through then, she'd stick with me through anything. So, right. Yeah, I totally understand how that can get you on a path. And I think about that as well, helping other people just because it's the right thing to do. We should be helping each other. And it seems like society is teaching us to not trust people, to not take that chance. And this podcast is really about disrupting conventional belief. And so this is a perfect topic, honestly, because, granted, don't just, don't just stop for every hitchhiker on the side of the road, and if you do, I mean, take warning that you don't know who you're dealing with. But I think we need to be open a bit more and do things cautiously and try to do them as safely as we can, but, not put ourselves at great risk. But I think we have to take that step forward at times, and help each other. I mean, the climate these days is that the government's cutting safety nets. So I think we're going to have to help each other. We're not going to have a choice. So that can be a good thing.
100%.
So So how are people responding to this path of happiness? And do you ever get pushback on like, oh, that's a load of crap, happiness? I'm never happy, or just meet these unhappy people. And how do you handle that?
Well, so I'm a data guy. I always want to know, because I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, hey, prove it, right? So I'm sitting there thinking, this lady helped me out. I'm like, okay, she did one thing that changed the trajectory, kind of like your friend that did when you were in the hotel too, where you got to stay by the week. She did one thing that changed the trajectory of your life. Right?
Yes.
So I look, it's like, okay, everyone says small acts make a big difference. Let's see if we can prove it. So I had an idea back in 2009. I went onto Craigslist. I had this idea. I'm like, I'm going to go onto Craigslist, post an ad in a random city saying, hey, I'm going to come to your city, help you out. I don't want anything in return. Just pay it forward. And Chicago happened to be the city. I just like closed my eyes and like picked the city.
Cool.
You ever been on Craigslist?
Oh yeah, a long time. I mean, a long time ago, but yeah, I actually think I went recently.
Okay. Yeah, so I go on there, I post this thing on. It's like, hey, I'll come to your city, help you out if you need any help. And my main thing is I'm just curious. I'm just curious to see, are people even going to respond to the post, let alone what I'm doing next? Because I kind of just like do things and then take the next step. Like I just like to take action. So I post this and people start hitting me up. They're like, yeah, you know what? I need help with, one guy needed help picking up a car. Like he just bought a truck and he didn't have a ride. There was no Uber. One girl needed help taking down a swing set. One guy needed a car battery. So it's like real small things.
Yeah.
I was thinking people are gonna be like, you know what? I need $1,000 because I can't pay my rent or something.
Right.
So what I did is I hopped in my car. I went on a Friday. I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna go do this and see what happens. So I hop in my car on a Friday, drive from Pittsburgh to Chicago. It took like, I don't know, 10 hours or something. I went and helped these people out, documented it on a little camcorder, like one of those ones you like flip open. And came back, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So what I did is I edited the video and put it on YouTube. And what it was just pictures. So like one guy needed help, so we picked up his car. His name was Mike, real cool dude. One guy just needed a car battery. One lady got a swing set on Craigslist, and she just needed help taking it down. The cool thing was the guy I helped get the truck came and helped her take it to the location. One person was demoing a bathroom. He's like, yeah, if you give me a hand for a couple hours, that would be cool, taking out the debris. One guy needed he worked at a homeless shelter. He's like, hey, if you got clothes and stuff, bring it up. So I documented, I put it on YouTube, and I get a couple people hitting me up. They're like, oh, you know what, that really made me feel good, or it made me do something. So I'm like, okay, that proved to me that one action can do something different. And then the media started hitting me up. And they're like, hey, can we do a story on this? And I said, well, I did this anonymously. Like, I didn't.
Right.
My name's not on it or anything. I said, this is anonymous. If you'll do this story and not include my name, I'm cool with that, because I want to keep it on. Anybody can do this. If you see some white kid from Pittsburgh, maybe it's because he's young, maybe it's because he's single, and then you get ideas why you can't do it. A couple of them turned me down. And then one girl at the Windy Citizen, she's like, hey, let me talk to my editor. So she went and talked to the editor. She's like, if we can talk to the people you helped and they can verify it, we'll do the story. And it went viral.
Wow.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, now that just proved to me in my head that things do have a ripple effect.
Yes.
And that's where I kind of concreted it. It's like, okay, and the thing is too, it's like small stuff. Everyone thinks you got to do like huge things. Didn't cost any money. I mean, it cost gas, but nothing really. It's like the small things, like being nice to someone. Like hold the door instead of that guy calling your son a nerd.
Yeah.
Maybe hold the door open for him. Say, hey, you know what? I like your shoes. Just like small things like that make a difference.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where
I think that's probably a good way to react too when someone calls you a nerd.
Yeah.
But who's that quick-witted?
Right.
You always think of the line after.
Calling the nerd. Imagine calling your son the nerd. Imagine if he said he likes your son's shoes instead. Not being a jerk, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm always meeting people when I go out because I'm just a friendly guy. But I think you learn a lot from different people's perspective. When you ask questions, and happiness, I think, it's a continuum. There's different degrees of happiness, and life can get you down, but you could still be a happy person. I think you could still be a happy person and try to get through the difficulty as best as you can. That doesn't mean, I don't know. It's happiness, I think, will come and go, just like good and bad times, just like everything. But trying to increase the happiness and put forth that effort has this multiplier effect is really what I'm hearing. And I don't know about you, but there was doing it anonymous. I guess I do know about you. So doing it anonymously, you get this feeling inside. It's hard to even kind of talk about. It's such a good feeling knowing that you helped somebody. I had neighbors down the street a couple of years ago. Her husband was ill. She needed to have her toilet unplugged, and it's a shitty job, but someone had to do it. So I went in there, and it's like walking the dog or something down the street, and she came out and, can you help me? And I was like, sure. So I did that, and about 2 or 3 weeks later, my wife, it got back to me that someone had told my wife that I did that. She's like, what? Why didn't you tell me? I was like, just helping her out. So it's not but it kind of felt good too to know that when good things happen, people talk about it as well. Even if it's not even if it's not directly with that person that was helped, maybe they're talking to someone else and spreading it. And I love it.
Yep, I agree.
I love it. Yeah, I believe too, like as far as the small acts and impact, that too translates to creating positive change in your life too. These little, most of the time, I think people think in extremes. They either think extreme bad or extreme good, but reality is somewhere in the middle of that. And so when you're trying to make changes in your life, you're shooting for the, outfield, you're shooting for that home run. But really it's the bunt that gets you on base and gets you moving. It's taking that small action and making tweaks in your life that not only affect your life, but can make everyone else happier. I know that the changes I've made in my own life have made my family much happier. But I love that, small change and big impact.
Yeah, and you're right too. It is the small things. And the thing I notice is too, it's like, just do it. Like, don't keep thinking about, like you're talking hitting a home run. Just go do something small. Like, when you take action, then you keep doing it and you pivot. Like, you're gonna fail, you're gonna get punched in the face, but like you're gonna see what works and what doesn't, and you're moving at least, not just getting held up in your head.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna mess up my own mantra here on the website, but it's move forward, get pushed down, and get back up again. And you learn through that process each and every time. And I know you mentioned getting stronger, mentally, boosting your mind and becoming stronger. I think it does change your perception. It opens up the world. You start to see people in a slightly different way. A lot of times I think people are forgetting empathy, or how to empathize, how to put yourself in someone else's shoes. As hard as we could try to do that, you're never really you can't be in their shoes. But you see it through your own lens and through your own experiences. But I think a lot of people don't even try anymore. And I hope that your efforts, I know you've inspired me to push back and be more positive and try to create happiness. So you've made a difference in my life, and I know you're going to keep on going out there in your day-to-day life and keep throwing those pebbles in and making the ripples.
That's the goal. And that's why I came up with the book, The Goodness Game, because I kind of like, it's like, okay, how can we make it into a game? not necessarily like a game like Monopoly, but how can we break it into small bite-sized rules almost that people can follow? Because I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes just get held up in the thought.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So it's like, okay, I broke it into 5 roles. It's like, okay, here's the very simple things. Do this, and you're good.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with you. How do you eat an elephant? Right? One spoonful at a time.
Yep.
Kind of the same thing. But what I've learned is that those steps, I mean, when you're trying to learn something new, it helps to understand the process and the general process and the general flow of what you're trying to do. If you've never done it before, I mean, you're going to learn along the way all the ins and outs, but generally it's going to follow that path. And once you learn that path, it becomes repeatable. Kind of like a habit. I used to think creating habits was so difficult, but it really is not. It's only 3 steps. First you got to have an idea of what you want to change, the habit that you want to create. And then you need to take it. And it's best to tie that with some existing habit, like brushing your teeth. I brush my teeth every day. So I wanted to start doing push-ups. So like right after my push-ups, I hit the floor and did push-ups in my bathroom. And I did that for like a year. And it becomes long-term change. But rewarding yourself after you take that action is all you really need to do. Take the action, or think of the action, do it, and then reward yourself. It's really simple, but how many people really do it?
Right.
But it is, it's like a big snowball effect. Just keeps rolling down, gets more speed, and before you know it, you're wiping out your towns with kindness.
Right. Yeah. And the thing is, it feels good. Like you feel good when you make a difference. Like when you help people.
Yes.
I mean, it actually creates a chemical in your brain. Like helping people it's actually a scientific thing too. It creates oxytocin. You feel good. So if you're feeling depressed, go help someone. You might feel better.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. You might think you're depressed, and you might be depressed, but there are other people who are out there who are in much worse shape than you are. And sometimes seeing that and being able to relate to other people who are maybe going through something similar, but, no two are exactly the same. I mean, it can make you feel like I've listened to Dave Ramsey. Have you ever listened to, financial advice on Dave Ramsey? When you listen to the stories that his listeners tell about how their family like totally screwed them financially, signed up for all these credit cards in their name, and they're held responsible for it. And, it's just crazy. You actually start to feel really good about yourself and your family because they haven't done that to you. But, I don't know. It's kind of, it does give you perspective, and it's like, oh, you know what? I don't really get along with my parents, but they're nice people. Right. And they're not trying to steal hundreds of thousands of dollars from me, but there are families out there that do it, right. So I agree. It's again, a part of being out there and being aware. Mm-hmm. And the more you go out there, the more you do it.
I agree. Yeah. 100%.
Let me ask you, did you ever, so you never found the lady who picked you up and changed your life?
Nope. I know. I think her son's name was John. I know she lives like 50 minutes outside Orlando. They had a horse, like she had a ranch style house.
Yeah.
Had a white fence around, but they had a horse in the yard for some reason, and a humongous cat. They had like this, like it looked like a cheetah, almost like a.
Oh my gosh.
Lived in their house, But no, I don't. I've been looking. I asked my mom even. I'm like, because she had her contact info from back in the day. I'm like, hey, do you have that by any chance? She looked everywhere, like it just lost.
That's got. I can relate to that as well, because I'm sure that if you could meet that person, that would I'm sure you'd have a lot to say. It would be a very good memory in your life, and let her know what what you did and what you did with that action.
Right. And the thing is too, it's like from her side, she's like, hey, you know what? I helped some kid out and he ripped me off at $300.
Yeah, that could be it. She could be calling you names.
Right.
Could have really used that, but I don't think that's the case.
No, I don't know.
I don't think people do that. I think people have different views on money, and you just generally don't lend money to strangers. You just give money to strangers, and if they ever give it back, that's great. But I don't think that expectation's there. If they are, then maybe they have it coming. Because I think they're setting themselves up. You can't control other people's behavior. You can just hope for the best, really.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was wondering. I'm like, it created a big impact on my life. It would be cool to let her know that.
Yeah.
And
well, maybe she's listening.
You never know. And that's the thing too. It's like when you do something, you think it's like, oh yeah, I just did something to help someone out. It could make a big impact in their life. You never know about it. So that's the kind of cool thing about it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It is very cool, and I hope our listeners, kind of take to heart what we're talking about here, and it really does begin with an individual person, and for me, I think it's a choice. I think you can make a conscious decision and say, I want to be a nicer, happier person. So I'm going to start putting more of that out there in the world and see what comes back, I think, really. I talk on the show, I talk about life on your own terms. And unfortunately, I think life on your own terms is more associated with conditions and situations that people come into not by choice and that are really bad, like losing their job, becoming homeless, terminal illness. Those are terms that really help define your character. But this also, what you're describing is your life and some of the terms that you've had and how you made those a really bad time of your life, and you turned it into something very positive. And you continue to do that and take this on as your mission. Writing a book about it and going out interviewing and traveling to different cities. How many cities did you go to? Was it just Chicago or did you go to other places?
Yeah, just Chicago. This was it's so weird because ever since then, I'm always thinking it's like, okay, you know what? I want to do something to inspire kindness, but it's cringy to like most of the stuff on social media you see, I'm not comfortable doing. I look at it, it's like, it's almost not acceptable to talk about doing good things. It's like, hey, look at me. So it took me like 15 years to figure out how can I package this up to actually get it out, but also not be like braggy or like cringy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. So how would people get this book?
They can go to Amazon, pick it up. The website's goodnessgame.com. I can give you a couple of the rules out of it too if you want.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, so basically here's what the premise is. The premise, we made it, it's called The Goodness Game. It's a game about goodness. So have you ever watched Fight Club?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so rule number 1, like Fight Club, like you don't talk about Fight Club. Rule number 1 is give without remembering. So you're just basically doing things to be nice, right? Not looking for bragging and all that kind of stuff. The second thing is it's find out what your helping style is. So for example, I hate cleaning my house. Some people are like, love cleaning. They're like, I put my headphones on, it's so relaxing. Mm-hmm. And I looked at, there's different ways to help people. So like you can pay with sweat, you can pay with money, you can pay with time, pay with empathy. So it's like, I'd rather give somebody a check and donate than pay with sweat. Like I'm not the guy to call if you need your brakes changed and you don't know how to do it. But some people are built for that. So it's like,
yeah.
The way I came down to it, it's like take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, put gives energy on one side of the paper and takes energy away on the other side. Look what you do for a week. And then whatever's on that gives you energy, meaning you can do that and you still have a ton of energy and you can do it all day long, that's your helping style. It's like whatever you're doing there. If it's like working with kids maybe, or brainstorming with people, or doing Meals on Wheels, like whatever's on your gives energy, do that. Whatever's on your takes energy away, like don't do that at all. It's going to burn you out.
That's really, that's great. I love it. I love it. And I think a lot of people who listen are looking for practical ways to understand this, understand their life, understand what's going on, understand their feelings. A lot has happened in the last 4 years for me. This podcast actually I started out with a co-host, and he died of brain cancer about 5 years ago. And I've continued on the show without him because that was, our dream was to get out there and start trying to help people create positive change in their life. And in tune, we were going to try to create positive change in our own life because no one really knows what they're doing. I mean, it's trial and error, and what works for me may or may not work for you. So, we have to get out there, put ourselves out there, and start relating to each other. Especially I think with technology, the way it's, it's going to steamroll us down. AI is so powerful, and the more I work with it, the more I just realize it's going to change society in so many ways. But one way that it cannot change is how humans relate to each other and communicate with each other. And the human skills are going to come back in need because computers can't do that.
Right.
So, I think it's awesome to, and you just gave someone a tool that they can use to, make the dividing line. And if it gives energy or it takes it away, I've done that with diet, and looking at how things like doing the elimination diet,
right,
and then adding things back in. And what I've learned from that is, things I would never expect. I would never know if I didn't go through that process and that exercise. So, I challenge the listeners here to do what Bryan says. Just take a sheet of paper, write it down, divide it down the middle, and start thinking about it, and do it for over a week. And you're going to see a trend, and you're going to see things that you might not have ever imagined. You'll start to see things, and things will start to make sense. And to me, I think that's where you get the traction is in these little things. It's very simple. You don't have to be complicated. And I think that's where most people actually go wrong is they overcomplicate things. Scale it back, and just plain simple happiness. How do you feel is a great way to start.
Right. Yeah, and it is the simple things too, because it's like you find out what your helping style is, and then you budget. It's like, okay, hey, am I a financial helper? Okay, where's the money come from? Or am I a time helper? Where's the time come from? Or am I paying with empathy? Like, and it's like, okay, am I going to cut out Netflix for 30 minutes a night and do something? Or am I just bulking my time that I want to spend to Saturday for 2.5 hours, whatever? And it's like now you have a plan and boundaries. Because you get involved with some places, especially organizations, they want to rope you into everything. It's like, you now know, I got 2 hours a week. I can help you here, but if you need help with that other thing too, we have to do it next week because you end up working 40 hours a week at some of these charities,
No, you're absolutely right. I had a thought that connected to what you were talking about, and it just totally escaped me. But no, I totally agree with you. It'll come back after the call.
Right. You know what else I noticed too? Sure. I noticed, I put in the book too, not everybody's your assignment. Like, that's actually one of the rules. It's like, you need to be aware you can't help everybody. So it's like, it's okay if that, like, what your helping style is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you don't fall in that, you're not like it's okay for me to like recommend you to somebody else, basically.
And actually, that was the point I was going to make, is that I've read about kind of similar approaches in marriage counseling. So recognizing that that spouses, even though they're close, they're two different people. No matter how close two people are, they're still two people. And some people might have a different, see happiness in a different way and get happiness in a different way. And you think you're giving your spouse happiness because what you're doing gives you happiness, but they don't think that way. So they're not receiving it that way. They're receiving it the total opposite.
Yeah, it's like the 5 love languages.
Yeah, I think that's actually the name of the book.
Yep.
I
actually have my wife's love language plastered on my phone, so I see it all the time. Because we have different.
Yes.
Boy, if I want her to feel good, it's like I gotta tell her nice things. Versus me, I don't care what people tell me nice stuff. Like that's not my thing,
Yeah, I'm the same way. My wife said, I noticed that you call the dogs all these pet names, but you don't ever call me pet names. So now I started calling her Honeybee. And she thought it was ridiculous now, but now I see like a little smile come out, and it's like, it's so silly to me. I'm just calling her a silly little name, Honeybee.
Right.
But to her, it's a sign of affection, and she loves that.
Yep.
So again, it's when you're doing things for happiness. I mean, in the name of happiness, sometimes you're not doing it for your happiness. Like especially if you're a parent, I think that's so true. Is that I'll do things not for my sake, but for the sake of my wife or my children. Like paying for my oldest daughter's college was not something I wanted to take on, but it was important to me to do that. So I took it on, and I'll do that for each of my children. But I guess in the long run, maybe I'm delaying my happiness, and because I want to just give them the best, possible life I can. And I think that, I think getting an education is a good way to start.
Yeah. Well, your happiness will come from when they're succeeding.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know what? I was able to contribute to that.
Yeah. Yeah. My oldest, actually, she's 22 years old. She just graduated from college and she's trying to get into graduate school. And we just transferred the title of her car into her name, because she's old enough to take on the insurance and everything. She has a job. And, well, I'll tell you, as a parent, it's just she's leaving the nest. She's launching, and that's a really good feeling. So it's awesome. So let's see. Probably about time to start wrapping this up. But I love this. I love the concept. I love what you're doing out there, and I hope that our listeners, also get that out of this podcast, and go find your book and take a look at it and read it and take it to heart and put it into action.
Yeah, just go out, and you can even go onto the website too. I even have it on the website. You can download it for free if you can't afford it.
Awesome.
But go on the website. You can download the stuff. Find out what your helping style is, and basically just go out and take action. It's super small stuff.
So is that thegoodnessgame.com?
Yeah, just goodnessgame.com.
Goodness Game.
Yep.
Okay. Say that 5 times fast.
Right.
No, perfect. Perfect. Well, I appreciate having you on the show, Bryan. Do you have any final comments or?
No, I would say, yeah, thanks for having me on. And I'd say the final comment would just be, just go out there and do something. Like small things, just take action, see where the road goes.
Sounds awesome. Sounds like great advice. Well, I thank you again. And I hope one day that you find that lady who offered you assistance all the way back then. I hope you get to kind of close the loop on that. I know that's going to feel good. And Boy, that would be great if this show was a part of that. I would love that.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
But I won't tell anyone about it.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you, Bryan. So this is Bryan Driscoll with your host, John Curran, on A Swift Kick in the Ass. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.